How to crimp butt electrical connections with heat shrink. So here's a typical set that you may buy. It's got the different colors, different sizes, different types of connections, and the key of making a good connection is using the right size connector with the right size wire. With this set, it's actually giving you a chart of the different sizes. The colors are usually standardized. Yellow is usually gauge 10 to 12, blue is usually gauge 16 to 14, and red is 22 to 16. Ironically, the bigger the gauge, the smaller the wire. America typically uses this system, but other places may use millimeter squared. So we have here a 1.5 millimeter square wire, so we need this connection here. We'll use a butt connection. So that's about a 16, so they're about equivalent. Here's a typical example of a connector with heat shrink tubing on either side. So basically you'll heat this up and it will seal the wiring together. So the only tool you really need is a crimping tool like this. So at this end you got the wire stripper, so pick the right size, strip the wire out, and this end is the crimping side. Again, pick the right size to do the crimping. Now you could get a bit more elaborate with the ratcheted crimper. Again, different sizes, all standardized. So let's get started. What we want to do is get your wire stripper and take off about 1/4 inch. If you can see this, it's about halfway through the connector. So about that much. So on the wire stripper end, select 1.5, 1/4 inch, clamp down and pull away. What I like to do is give the end a little bit of a twist just to tie it all in. Then get your connector, and again on the crimping end 1.5. So on this half, press down and crimp. Make sure you always use one of these tools if you don't want to over crimp it. Also, one thing I like to do after I've crimped, just give it a good pull to make sure it's connected properly. There you go. So you could have also done this with the ratcheted crimper like this. So obviously you pick your correct size, that's the 1.5 there, and you could crimp each side. As you can see, the wiring totally goes into connection here, and this is why it's important only to cut the right amount off. You don't want any exposed wire in this section or this section over here. Now we need to apply some heat to the shrink tubings on the side to seal it all in. Typically people use a lighter in the past, but I don't recommend doing that. So to heat shrink them properly, I'd recommend using a heat gun. Therefore you can do it a bit more evenly, safely, and not burn the plastic. So when you can clearly see through the wiring, or the connection here, you know you're done. So obviously this side looks done here, however this side needs a bit more.